Hi all, Jean here. How is everybody doing this evening? I hope you guys are well. You can tell I am smudging again today. I'm just returning from a sweat lodge and yeah, I decided to smudge. And I just love smudging these YouTube streets. Anyways, I wanted a little bit of color tonight. I find that I show up in my black t-shirt and I wanted some color. So I am in my, my very sacred head tie, headscarf. Now, guys, do not forget to subscribe to my channel. Subscribe to my channel. It's very free. You're going to be supporting me in that way, and I am already very grateful for your help. So subscribe and like my channel. I just love saying that. Um, having a hard time, people that have a hard time asking for what they want. I got to tell you, I am no longer one of those people. I prefer to ask for what I want, and you can tell me a clear no or a clear yes. Do not leave me hanging. I think it's really important for people to remember to do that, to be clear with their yes and their no. Yeah, I'm just looking, I had to look up the definition of alignment because lately I find myself in alignment with many things, and I was like, I wasn't sure if it was manifestation, alignment, energy, what it is. But this morning I went to a hypnotherapy session. I have a friend that she is actually becoming a certified hypnotherapist, and I've been doing session with her. And I'm on my fourth session, by the way. And I should tell you, two of the things that came from the session today, before I go around the roses. Two of the things that came from the session today. One, when I told her about the synchronicity that I've been having, I wanted to get flowers because I had a friend come in for dinner, but I didn't go and get the flowers, and I didn't call her and tell her when she comes, when she's coming, bring me some flowers. But guess what? When she came, she not only she actually took it up a notch. She brought me a nice potted plant, and a Caribbean potted plant, to be honest with you, with nice leaves that has color in it and all these beautiful things. And she actually told me I should put it in my bedroom. I just wanted a flower so that I can put it on our dining table so we can have something nice to look at. But we actually had something really beautiful to look at because she brought this beautiful plant. And not only she brought a plant, she also bought a pot, a nice, pretty little pot for the plant as well. So I was thinking in terms of here I was all day, sitting and like, do I get the flowers? Did she get the flowers? Who get the, like, should I call her? Should I go to the grocery? And I didn't do any of that. I didn't ask her. I didn't go to the grocery and this grocery store and get the flowers. And she showed up with the flower in her hand. Right? How cool is that? And I actually also discuss in my other videos as well about this whole idea that I have never done hypnotherapist, never done hypnotherapy. And one night I decide, oh, I need to do I need to do something so that I can feel really better in my gut. What can I do? Hypnotize myself? So I actually start listening to hypnotherapy from YouTube. YouTube have everything, including me. Anyways, I started listening to hypnotherapy on YouTube. And guess what? I listened to the hypnotherapy session for about a week and a half, not really 2 weeks. And then, boom, my friend called to tell me that, she wants to give me from some free session. Guys, what is that? Synchronicity? Is it manifesting? Did I manifest that? Is it synchronicity? What is that? I also, that same friend, couple of weeks ago in January, she sent me a photo with another friend that I haven't talked to that friend since November. That friend is someone that had lived with me, blah, blah, blah. I got the photo like around this time in the day, and then the next day this friend called me. I've never gotten a photo from, like sent to me with this friend in it. Like, it's just, there's this thing that is going doop to doop to doop to doop. And I was talking again about yesterday being in a Zoom, and got to be put out into a breakout room. And I was asked, who is my high priestess? And I said, Mary Magdalene. And then the woman after me said, Mary Magdalene. And then the other one said, Mary Magdalene. And then, when we got back to the huge Zoom room, almost more than 5 or 6 of the women in there was like, and I was like, wait, now this is really interesting. There's all these, priestess out there, deity, all the things. And it seems like everybody is, in that. And as I say, I have had some other experience as well, like lots, right? So while I was in hypnotherapy this morning, and I was saying this to she's my friend, but she's a therapist. I was saying that to her, and she said, wow, Jean, you are in alignment. And I was like, budoop, budoop, tudoop, alignment. Alignment. What does it mean to be in a alignment? What does that mean to be in alignment? I guess the simple answer to that, and I was looking it up here because I wanted to make sure I had clear meaning for you guys, right? So I was just looking it up online, what it is. So bear with me while I just pull it up, right? So alignment actually is a straight line. Straight line, or incorrect, or appropriate relative position. So a position of agreement or alliance, right? So it's like an alliance, an agreement or an alliance, or but it's also a really straight line. That is the basic from the Oxford Dictionary. So the meaning alignment is really and truly, it's a straight line. Everything has line up. It is in alignment, right? But then I thought, well, I'm a spiritual queen. Well, I don't know. Yeah, I'm a spiritual queen. I'm a wizard. I'm a witch. I a mystic. I'm quite esoteric because there is so many things that I believe and have an understanding of, and but it's hard for me to explain it to people. The thing that I say a lot is this: I know what I know that I don't know that I know that I know. Right? So I know what I know that I don't know that I know that I know. And that has been, I've been saying this little sentence now for a long time. And it came from knowing that I don't know, but I know that I don't know that I know, which is a knowing, right? There are things that I cannot explain for myself. There is, like, for instance, the life that I'm living now, the red road. If you know, you know, and if you don't, and that's the other thing. Many people always say, if you know, you know, and if you don't, right? And a lot of the time, I don't. When people like, if you know, you know, I've heard a lot of YouTubers said that, and I'm like, what do I need to know? I don't know. So I say, I know what I know that I don't know that I don't know, right? I know what I know that I know that I don't know that I don't know. But I know what I don't know, right? So for me, this is allowing my inner being, allowing my spirit soul to, you know, really have access to me, because if I allow my spirit to have access all the time, it would speak to me in a different language, right? A language that I personally may not be able to speak, but if my spirit is speaking that language, it speak to me in a way that I can understand the language in a sense, but I can know what it is, but I don't have to have this big description of understanding of it. I hope you understand that. So let's say it together. I know what I know that I don't know that I don't know that I know. So you try it. You try it. You try it. Anyways, the spiritual meaning of alignment is I'm just writing something that, so I don't lose my thought along the way. Spiritual alignment is the harmonious, conscious integration of your mind, your body, and spirit with your higher self, your soul purpose, or universal divine energy. It means operating from a place of authenticity where thoughts, action, and desire are in sync, resulting in a sense of flow, a sense of peace, and an inner joy. Now, when I read that, what I love the most about the spiritual alignment meaning, I like that it says that it means you are operating from a place of authenticity. And for me, that's the deepest place that anyone can operate from. And when I am operating from my authentic self, you would know what you know that you don't know that you know that you know. You would know. And that's who I am here for, really. I am here for that person who wants to be their own messy self, that person that wants to do something different but is afraid to do it. I'm here for that person. I am actually here for the misfits. I am here for the misfits. I am here for the witches, the wizard, the people that you're in the middle or the beginning of your spiritual journey. I am here for that. And I am here for you, you know? And yeah, I've been listening to a much younger man. I think he's in his just turned 40, in his 40s, early 40s. And I've been really he just ended up on my Instagram. Like, where did he come from? But he's on my Instagram. And when he speak, I know that he's speaking to me. And I know that he's telling me his truth the way he knows it. And he just end up on my gram because I am in alignment with what he says. I am in alignment with, his content, like 100%, right? And so I've been listening to him, and that been making a lot of sense to me, what he have to say, although he is very much an esoteric kind of human being. He's very esoteric. He believe in the human design, but he makes a lot of sense to me, but he may not make sense to you. So when I look at this alignment piece and I'm trying to understand, well, how do I get aligned? And how do I bring the things that I want into alignment as with me, as opposed to wanting to manifest? And that is a discussion that me and my friend had this morning, because, when we talk, we always deep dive into, underneath the surface. And it's like, how do I become aligned? And one of the things that come up is that, you know what? This whole life, like getting in alignment, even manifesting, because lots of people want to manifest and they have their vision board and they have all the things. But the truth of the matter is, it takes time. And that is what has been that I didn't know, right? I know that it took time. I know how long it took time for me to get here. I didn't just arrive here. It took a while. I'm in my 60s, and it took a while for me to get here. Now, that being said, I was like, oh, I'm thinking of my purpose and what is my purpose? And I thought for the longest while that it had to be, I want to give you guys a quick fix. Like, I didn't think in terms of it like that, but that's what, that is what arrived, like in the sense of, oh, what is my purpose? How can I help the people? What can I tell them to start their spiritual journey? What are the steps you need to take and all the things. And while I was deep inside of my little hypnotherapy session today, I came to understand that there is no quick fix. So if you're looking for a quick fix, this is not the place. And a lot of other places, there is no quick fix. A lot of time when we see, stars or singers or people that make it big, and, everybody's like, oh my God, it happens overnight. We didn't know you yesterday and we know you today. Most of the time, this particular musician was playing music since they were 5. That singer was singing on stage since they was 4. That actress was performing and doing dramatic scenes from birth. Like they have been walking and doing the work in a sense that make it look like they have arrived overnight. But none of that happened overnight. It took them some time. So here I was thinking, oh, I wanted to, have a program and do all of that, but it doesn't happen overnight. Now, I truly do believe in transformation. So don't get me wrong. I believe that transformation could happen in a second. But I also believe the reason why transformation can happen in a second is because somewhere, somehow, you were also doing the work for that transformation, you know? And this happens to me a lot. All of a sudden things are like, oh, this click, wow, I got this. This really click. I didn't realize that before, but somehow in my system, this must have been in my system because boom, I just got it, right? But so that's why sometimes for you and for me, transformation, transformation works really quickly. 1 minute you're like, I don't get it, I don't get it, I don't get it. And then the next minute is like boom, 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 boom. It clicks. It's like it aligns, right? But that means that you have been doing a thing or two, right? I consider myself a black, awake woman in the world. I'm awake in the world. And I have done my work to get to this place of being awake. And I no longer want to shy away and hide away and, think that, oh, I cannot say the thing or do the thing because, quote unquote, somebody's going to think I'm not educated enough, I'm not knowledge enough. You don't care. What you care about is that I can say something that would click with you. I can say something that would help you change your whole life. I can say something that resonate in such a way that you're going to look at it the same person that I look upon on Instagram. That man that come on, I don't know him from a can of paint. I've just, he was never my friend. And one day, boom, he ended up on my channel and on my Instagram page, well, in front of me. So the algorithm actually put him in front of me. Why? Because the algorithm, as you know, you cannot speak to your camera or your phone because it picks it up. And they put him right in front of me, and he makes sense to me, and he may not be making sense to a lot of people because when he speak, he asks for his witches, his medium, his spiritual people, the esoteric people, the people that he is speaking to, the people that he considered to be his fractor. I think that's the word he used, fractor, FRACTO. Yeah, fracture, not sure, fracture, right? The people who would be in alignment with you. So that's where I'm at. I'm sitting here and I'm getting in alignment. The other thing that I really love about this whole spiritual alignment is, it's very harmonious. Harmony, that is joy. When you hear harmony, something that makes you lift your shoulders, it's such a joy, right? But it's also a conscious integration of your mind, your body, and spirit with your higher self and your soul purpose, or your universal divine energy. So for the first time, I am recognizing that I have tapped into my universal divine energy. I have tapped into it because I'm seeing, things are lining up, it's just becoming easy. Things are, I want, and again, people probably call that manifesting. But if you've been in the world long enough and you know about Esther Hicks and, talking about always going in the vortex and, if you're not in alignment with $100,000, that $100,000 would never come to you because you have so much blocks and so much stuff, that is blocking you from that. If you have never manifest like, $20 or $100 or $10,000, how are you going to go from zero to $100,000? So how do you get an alignment for that? So you have to be consciously integrated. Everything has to be in alignment. Your body, your mind, your spirit, your higher self, your purpose, your universal divine energy, all of that has to be in alignment, right? So let me take a step back and talk about maybe what does that look like for us? Like, say for instance, yes, transition could be, could happen in a second, but a lot of the work that comes with that, it's not a quick fix. Getting in alignment is not a quick fix. So I thought, oh, I am understanding this. So how do I put it out into the world? It's not a quick fix, but it doesn't have to take you 10 or 20 or 50 years. It doesn't have to take you the time that it took me. I've been clearing a lot because personally, I think as the person I am in the world, the time I was born and in being into the world, I have been dense. It's almost like you needed to take a hatchet and one of those, and you had to, when you're taking out wall, like when you're breaking down concrete wall and you're like, ponging and it's, a chisel, maybe one of those things. I mean, well, the chisel will probably work faster, so probably we can stay with this one. But for me, I think, I was chipping away and chipping away of all my not just my negativity, all my trauma, because girl, did I come into this world with some trauma. I had trauma, I had drama, and yeah, mixture of both. You think about it. So I was, my system was almost like you could have barely speak to me because I had so much trauma. You trigger my trauma very easily, and I see this in my Caribbean people. They have, the trauma that they have, it shows up all the time like annoyance and anger. You cannot ask a question. How dare you ask me this question? How dare you want to talk about this? I am not doing that. I have nothing to say. And that, what that looks like is that end up being shame, guilt, shame, putting things underneath the carpet, blame, and I think the three big one is like guilt and shame and blame. We spend so much time sitting inside of our guilt. We spend so much time sitting inside of quote unquote what we think our shame is, who we blaming in the world, who is responsible for everything but ourselves, So coming back to recognizing that, how do I really help someone to come into alignment? How can I help you come into alignment? Well, it would, we have to do a few sessions. First, we do have to do a clearing session. And a clearing session can take some time. So you have to go through a process of clearing. It's like cleaning, when you think about it. When you want everything to be lined up inside of your kitchen and you want your kitchen to be clean and looking good, you go in and you clean it up, and I'm not just talking about cleaning the surface of the kitchen. I'm talking about going inside of the cupboards and taking out what is not what no longer need and throwing that out. So for instance, if I'm deep diving to do a deep clean inside of my kitchen where I am removing stuff and putting stuff out and all of that, it will take me more than one day. It probably would take me at least 3 weeks to get it done because I want to do a cupboard at a time, unless I hire someone in to do it. But then still, I have to stand and give them directions and all of that, and that would take them time. Especially if when I'm doing that, I'm pulling out the stove to clean behind the stove. I'm pulling out the fridge to clean behind the fridge. I'm cleaning inside of the fridge, inside of the stove. Yeah, it can take a day, but that means that a lot of stuff could get missed, right? So you really, really want to do a cleaning and a clearing. And then when you finish that, you want to connect. You want to have some connection. So you clean, you clear, and then you have connection to your inner voice, your inner self, your inner whatever you're doing, right? So you want to clean, you want to clear, and then you want to find a community that you are in alignment with. You want to, and you can tell if your friends, if you're hanging with friends that hang out by the road and do nonsense, that's what you do, you know. And I understood today that jealousy or judgment, like you judging, that was one of it. So it's not only shame, it's blame, it's judgment. What was the other one? So shame, blame, judgment. Um, I would say also, jealousy, all these different kind of things, right? Because we live inside of these things and we have to clear them. So you got to clear the things that you're ashamed of, the things that you feel like you could never talk about. You got to talk about it with someone that you feel safe with. You got to get rid of these stuff. So you have to talk about the things that you blame people for. How are you going to take responsibility? You got to talk about the things that, you know, um, who you're jealous of all these different things. So all of that has to get clearing, and who are you judging? What part of you are you judging the most? So yeah, so all of that judgment, I'm just going to, sometimes I have to write it down: blame, shame, and I'll write down as I go. But so those are the things that you have to get clean up, right? And then you have to get connected. And who are you connecting to? You're connecting to your inner self, your inner voice. You're going inside, you're going deep, you're going dark. And that means that, you probably have to learn a tool, a breathing tool, a meditation tool, a tapping tool, a tool that would work for you to help the density of what you've been carrying for so long, right? And that eventually can help you to manifest too. So instead of spending, all the years that I have spent to get here, you can get here on a shorter time, but it still take time. It's not an overnight gig, and it depends on what you have pent up, the kind of rage, the kind of suffering that you have gone through. It may take longer than the other. So getting in alignment with what we want really is it. I didn't even have that mindset. I didn't set out to be in alignment with anything. I just set out to clear my own blame and shame and judgment and trauma and perfectionist. And I just set out, I was just in a space where I was, healing my own traumas, right? But the side effect of healing all that trauma is, becoming aligned, right? That's a side effect for me from, healing all that trauma. I become aligned with the life that I really living. Like, this is me, this is my life. It is harmonious to what, like joy. Even when I'm annoyed, when I'm pissed off, when I'm upset, there is this form of joy that happens, with me. And I've learned actually today that judgment, especially judgment of your own self, is the lowest form of vibration. So you cannot, judgment is not going to get you anywhere. It's not going to get you anywhere. That you got to lift the vibration, and the highest form of vibration is love. Like literally, judgment down in the gutter and love. So Even when people tell me, oh, I just love myself. Yeah, right. Like, whatever. Sometimes lots of people say that, they're like the people that use God. They just, they basically just do the thing where they, yeah, insult their own self, right? Yeah, I just love myself, and then they still go and do the same thing they were doing before. Anyways, I'm not here to judge. I am not here to judge. So a little bit of the other part that I want to talk about, because I did say I have two things to talk about, is this. When I was in my session this morning, I had this huge realization. Before I went to my hypnotherapy session, I was actually at a workout session with a personal trainer. So we do group training with this one personal trainer, which is amazing. I just love it. And I'm just, working on becoming very strong. And there was a mirror. Well, in those gym, well, she has her own gym now, and there's a mirror. And I had a moment where I was watching in the mirror, and you know how when we in gyms or when we passing by a car or whatever, I know you do it because I know you're a woman, you do it, I do it. We usually stop and think that we are different. Like, it's like you don't want to see yourself in the mirror. You're like, oh, there's a mirror. I don't want to watch myself, blah, 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 right? This morning, when you hear you in alignment, I had this huge revelation. While I was watching in the mirror and I pretend that I didn't see myself in the mirror, I realized that this is my face, right? It's very like this piece of conversation is going to sound very stupid, but I think you're going to get it and you're going to like it. This is my face. And it doesn't matter. If you see me when I wake up, if you see me when I'm going to bed, if you see me in the middle of the day, if I stand in the mirror in the gym, if I see myself in face, when I'm walking past a car and I am judging myself, let's go back to that. The point is, the truth is, it is the same face. This is always going to be my face. It might get older, but it's still my face. What am I hiding? What it is that I don't want to see? Your face is your face. No matter what day you wake up, it's not going to change unless you do plastic surgery. And then you're going to really have a problem because you alter this thing that you've been looking at forever to look at something else. Could you, I think these people really have to have a lot of, therapy when they do that. Because, hun, this face is your face. And it's going to be there all the time. Unless, again, you have plastic surgery or you accident, but we're not talking about any of that. I am saying that no matter where you look at yourself, or no matter how bad you feel you see yourself in one mirror to the next, it is still your face. It hasn't changed. It's the perception of how you're looking at yourself that is changing from time to time. But your face itself hasn't changed. And the only time, again, someone you haven't seen in 20 years or 10 years or 2 years or a full year, you haven't seen them, when they see you, they may think you get fatter, thinner, slimmer, older, but you still have the same face. So I want to leave you guys here with that today. Your face is your face. So it doesn't matter what um, man in the mirror that you're looking at it from, it is still your face that you're looking at. So I'm leaving you guys with this. Stop judging your face. And the next time you have a thought in the back of your mind that says, oh, you look in the mirror and you're like, oh, I'm not looking good today. Remember, that's the same face you had yesterday. Remember, that's just your thought. That's just a thought that jump into your head. That old voice that is saying that, because you might be tired, but you still have the same face. You might just get up from sleep, but it's still your face. I needed that lesson today in a hard way. And when I got it from out from nowhere, but I'm realizing that because I am in alignment harmoniously, you know, conscious integration of my mind and my body and my spirit and my higher self, my soul purpose, all of that is in alignment. So it's allowing me to see things from a different lens, right? So let's get you into some alignment. As I leave today, I'm going to say this to you. Don't forget to subscribe and like my channel. You are doing me you are doing me a solid. I am already grateful for your help, so I'm saying thank you right now. And do less and be more, and please do the things that you have to do. Remember, you are quite capable. And I am not editing, so I'm going to move forward and stop this video. You can always cut off from here. Have a good one, guys.